Hi everyone, welcome to MediaPo. I'm Mengdi Li and this is my video essay for my second year Communication and Media module, Writing for the Media. In this video, I will show how I have applied professional strategy triangle and Aristotle's persuasive technical frameworks in my developing media writing practice. And I will focus on copyright and privacy to show how I have ensured my work is aligned with media writing legal, regulatory, and ethical frameworks. Finally, I will show how I have adapted my writing for different slangs and platforms, choosing topics and writing styles that are relevant to the target audience and platforms. In particular, I will focus on Susan Ford's Challenging the News, the journalism of alternative and community media.
Firstly, I will talk about the professional strategy triangle theory that features three corners: the situation, the audience, and the message. King and Lingbo wrote in their book that when you begin to write, always first assess the situation for which you are writing. Writers should think about whether they would select news or perspective writing, and the further questions they are supposed to consider. Besides, people who read, hear, or see the message is another aspect to think about before writing. Before starting, I found a blog which title is Remembering Nelson ASU, published on 29 March 2016 by Matt. Searched it online, I found it was a high-quality blog with a combination of both situation and audience mentioned in King and Lingbo's theory. The blogger started to describe his feelings about the news, and then interviewed Nelson ASU's sister with retelling the life of Nelson, who was a gay. In the blog, audiences are people who know or have met him before. Most of them are regretful about the accident and are missing him. After reading his blog, I decided to visit the Museum of Liverpool to know more about the history of gay and lesbian in Liverpool, aiming to reach the audience who are interested in LGBT and are willing to know more about their history. I interviewed three ladies who were in the museum at the same time. In my first essay about the LGBT pride in Liverpool, I started in the same way as the blog I mentioned above, telling people my feelings and others' opinions to LGBT in emotional appeals. The purpose of this blog is to stand in a neutral perspective, appealing people's resonance of LGBT communities, telling that LGBT is ordinary people as us today. Then, let's move on to Aristotle's three rhetorical appeals: ethos, logos, and pathos. As Aristotle states, ethos refers to the character, credibility, and trustworthiness of the communicator. For example, if we search on the internet of switch on to business, most media writings are interviewees with a character who have some achievements in some aspects. Audiences can receive valuable messages from the conversation between journalists and the interviewees. To ensure the reasonability of my writing, I collected official information of two Chinese restaurants and interviewed managers for further questions, comparing the similarities and the differences of two as an analogy. Third, we use the theory of pathos in the social video world. The video shows two different kinds of students, aiming to be as honest as possible about the university experience, highlighting how not every student is the same. It's close to students' real life, which appeals to an audience's beliefs, feelings, and emotions. In the video, we award two definite which student is good or bad, which is a potential guide to audiences. So what is my reflection? Standing back to my media writing, I consider that it is essential to interview the objects before writing. As Pulford said, without talking to people who can give us information or opinions, by phone or face-to-face, we can only print what others send us or recycle what has appeared somewhere else. Because of the timeliness of an interview, it will appeal more audiences who are interested in recent events. Therefore, I use the interview in 3 of my portfolios, which has also created more opportunities for me to talk with native speakers during the process of interview, which encouraged me a lot and made me feel more powerful to do further homemade videos not based on interviews. However, during the interview process, some people refused to answer questions and was not willing to face the camera, which struck me a lot. I asked myself, was the question I asked interviewees suited to them? Did it make them uncomfortable? Should I prepare some questions before interview others? My academic advisor encouraged me that do not be afraid of these little setbacks. I should accept the fact and do prepare questions which were related to my topic. Second, media legal and regulation. Firstly, I got a book of an introduction to journalism, which was written by Carol Fleming et al. In 2008. In Chapter 7, it provides journalists specific rules that regulate, control, and influence their activities. Fleming defines privacy law as a relevant scope. There is a non-compliance example of Cliff Richard privacy case in April 2018. It reports that journalist Dan Johnson said BBC had right to tell the public about police search of Starr's home and editors made an ultimate decision. The actor Richard is suing the BBC over its coverage of the police. He said the broadcaster had broken his right to privacy with its coverage of the raid. In my opinion, privacy belongs to legal scope, which is the primary regulation that should be obeyed by every citizen. Compared with laws, news values should be the secondary factors for journalists. I asked permission before interview people who am interested and whether they wanted to appear in both of my media writing and social media works. Secondly, I avoid personal questions during the process of interview and have informed them the question before starting. We also showed UNI's location permission form to managers of other places when we shoot them for the social media work. Secondly, in Patricia Abderhyde et al.'s article, he stated that journalists experience a reduction in their ability to express themselves in an environment of insecurity about their rights to quote copyrighted material. Thus, journalists suffer from both censorship and self-censorship. In the case of the YouTube, the Federal Court of Justice is to rule on whether or not Google Video Service YouTube is liable for copyright infringement and what damages, if any, are owed. In my opinion, it questions whether users who upload clips that they do not own the copyright on should be liable for their behavior. All of the photos I have used in my portfolio was took by myself and was credited. Besides, one of the purposes to choose interview in most essays is to avoid plagiarizing other people's creative work. However, in the beginning, I'm quite confused about how to find free play music, because the consciousness of copyright in the UK is stronger than in China. It's more difficult to find free music online. After talking with my group members, they introduced me some free play music websites and told me the importance of copyright in England. Their opinions changed my thoughts, teaching me that copyright was a necessary regulation to protect authors' rights, which should be respected and appreciated in our mind. Third, commercial and alternative media. I select 2 examples in my portfolio. The first is a commercial journalist writing for business and enterprise. The second is the alternative journalist writing for communities in North Liverpool. First, I will talk about the similarities. Keyes has stated in his book, which related to commercial journalism, that the watchword for writing as news stories is keep it simple, or KISS, which means to keep it simple and stupid. He explained that writers should make sure to use words and sentences that are short enough to be understood easily by the public. In the theory of ABCs, it also emphasizes the brevity and clarity in media writing. Therefore, It's a similarity between commercial and alternative media that both of them are supposed to use language as simple as possible, which is the fundamental principle for all kinds of media writing. The language in both of the two articles is simple to understand and attempt to attract people's attention by using interesting topic. In the commercial journalism writing, I use block-by-block framework and highlight the subtitles in each piece. Similarly, I adopt dialogue into my alternative writing, aiming to make it easier to be understood. Secondly, I will talk about the differences. One of the differences between commercial and alternative media is a relationship between economy and politics. Herman and Chomsky argued that commercial media outlets are for-profit organizations that must acquiesce to the demands of owners and advertisers. By this logic, it is reasonable to see that commercial media tend to operate in a corporate and structured environment, such as markets, economic, political, and legal. For example, commercial media such as Disney, which is one of the most successful companies in the world, invest enormous funds in advertising and marketing to achieve more business profits. Different from commercial media, alternative media are free of any obvious political and commercial ties. In Susan Ford's book, alternative media encourage the participation of their community, which provide fresh and innovative perspectives on public sphere debates. Research Scotty Price Online, which is Britain's longest-running community newspaper, starting in 1971 for documenting life in North Liverpool. We can find that most of the published articles there are hyperlocal and related to people's daily life. Seldom articles there involve economy and politics. Meanwhile, there are fewer advertisements in an alternative media. After thinking about the similarities and differences between two media, I applied it to my work. Firstly, I interviewed two typical Chinese restaurants, asking questions about managing experience and give some suggestions for people who want to engage in the industry in the future. To induce audiences' desire to the two restaurants, I attached addresses and contact number in the article for advertising. Secondly, I went to the Sandhills railway station, which located in the north of Liverpool, and interviewed an employee who works there. Standing back to my work, I have worried about the interestingness of my alternative writing. I have been asking myself, what should I write to attract more readers? How can my text be concise and interesting? I asked my friends whether the article is too boring to read if she is a local citizen. However, she told me that it is attracting because my topic is close to people's lives, that is interactive with the character. In conclusion, this video shows my understanding to media writing theories and how to apply them into my work. I've summarized key points of the video above. First, the interview makes information more accurate and authoritative. As a way of getting to the truth of a matter, the interview allows us to meet interesting people and ask them pretty much any question we like. Second, any legal or regulation for journalists should be respected and be regarded as basic requirements for a media writer. Third, both of commercial media and alternative media are necessary for people. Also, they feature in a different area. Both of them serve people's life and enrich their spiritual work.
This module enhances my comprehension to media writing and arouses my interest to journalists in traditional media in the future. Meanwhile, videos and editing ease the feeling of bored during good work, which also make me more interested in video production and work for new media in the future. And that's all for my video. This has been me, Mengdi Li, for Media Poll. If you like this video, please click like, leave a comment, and subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching.